Hey guys, so words. Today's words of encouragement. I want to talk about behavior modification and why myself and S2O recovery just try to blast that out of the water because we know it doesn't work. And the way I want to do that is by talking about this story, this journey that I heard from a pastor friend of mine named Pastor John. And it's a story about some guys, some good friends going on this long hike. They went on this hike down this trail through the woods, and it was a long day, and they're real tired, and they finally made it to this peak. And they get to the top, and they could just looking over, and they just see the whole forest. And in the distance, they see this one tree is just scouring over all the other trees. And they look, and they make the decision. You know what? That's got to be a really old tree. Let's go see it. And they make their descent, and they go down to see this tree, and they get to it, and it was amazing. It was the widest tree that they've ever seen. It had to be hundreds of years old. And one of them looked up, and the tree had this cancerous knot on it. And that concerned them. Now they're invested in this tree, and it's awesome. And they thought maybe it was sick or maybe it could die. And so they start to ask, hey guys, we got to do something. And they had their supplies, and one of them had one of those fold-out saws in their backpack, and he's like, you know what? Let's cut the knot off, and let's move it as far away from the tree as we possibly can. And so they did it. They sawed it off. They take turns because it was pretty thick, and they sawed it off, and they moved it away as far as they possibly could. And they went home, and a week or two went by, and they called each other, and they're invested and remember. And so they went back to this tree, and they were hopeful to see that it was thriving and healthy. But when they looked up, they saw 7 more of those cancerous knots. And gosh, they panicked, and they had a buddy back home who was an arborist, and they called him, and they had to meet them out there. It took them a couple hours, but he sensed the urgency in their voice, and the arborist met him out there, and they're all pointing and showing them, hey, look at all these. There's 7, and now they're counting. Actually, there's 20 of these, and the arborist wasn't talking to him. His head was just down. He was walking around the tree. This went on for a few minutes, and the buddies just began to get frustrated with the arborist, and like, hey, arborist, I guess he doesn't have a name in the story, but arborist, why aren't you folk listening to us? We're telling you where the problem is. And the arborist just responded, hey, you can look up at the symptom, but I'm going to look down at what's causing this. I'm going to look down at the root. And that's what we believe at S2L Recovery, that you've got to look at the root, which is the heart. You've got to clean the inside. In Matthew 23:26, it says this, you blind Pharisees, this is Jesus talking. First clean the inside of the cup and the plate, that the outside may also be clean. And if that's not the biggest slap in the face to behavior modification, I don't know what is. Guys, you've got to dive deep. Stop trying to just white knuckle it, and if I could just go 30 more days without doing a drink or without doing a drug, then I'll be fine. It'll always be there. If you clean the symptom, so often the addiction is the symptom, and we're so focused on the drugs and the alcohol that we never address the heart, never address the root. And the good news is that no matter how entangled that your root is and all of this nasty stuff, and so that you've gone further than you ever thought you would allow yourself to go, you've done just awful things. Good news is that Jesus paid for all of that. Jesus knew before he went to the cross all of these things that you would do, and he still went, paid for it. Guys, dive deep. The way you dive deep is you plead with God. God, reveal to me my hardened heart. God, give me a heart of flesh. Soften my heart. Reveal more of yourself to me. Show me your character. And you dive into his word. You pray. You have good fellowship with people. And you take action every day. Dive in, guys. Focus on the inside, and the outside may also be clean.